This is The Download from Sounds Profitable, your daily source for the essential news of the business of podcasting. Brought to you by Spreaker from iHeart. I'm Tom Webster.
And I'm not Tom Webster. Hello, Gavin Gaddis here, producer, editor, and breaking news narrator, as a story developed just after we finished recording with Tom. So, let's get into the first story. Breaking from Apple Podcasts. Over 100 new podcasts from top apps and services launch on Apple Podcasts. Subscribers to apps such as Apple Music, Apple News Plus, Calm, and Lingo Kids now have access to over 60 original podcasts, with more shows from top apps and services launching weekly throughout this fall. Listeners with in-app subscriptions to eligible apps will be automatically connected to the publication's channel and see every podcast they have access to in their library tab. In addition to a slate of podcasts from publications like Bloomberg and The Washington Post, Apple has launched a daily news briefing called Apple News Today, a weekly interview show called Apple News and Conversation, and Apple News Plus Narrated, a catalog of audio stories produced by News Plus publishers. Now back to your regularly scheduled Tom Webster, who has no idea this just happened.
Here's what you need to know for today, Tuesday, September 26th. First, in inside audio marketing, Hispanics remain big audio users, but Nielsen says language is less a factor than in the past. Nielsen's radar report for March finds 94% of Hispanic respondents aged 18 to 49 listen to AM/FM radio on at least a monthly basis. The report also found Hispanic listeners are 13% more likely to consume podcasts compared to the general population. With a growing percentage of second and third generation Hispanic people in the population, simply providing general content translated in Spanish isn't enough. So when considering content for this Hispanic Heritage Month, and any content going forward, keep in mind the necessary balance between an audience's language preference and making that content relevant to the intended audience. Pacific Content reports Tell Me a Story, what podcast format works best for brands. And this is some new data from Signal Hill Insights and Pacific Content that demonstrates while a branded chat or interview podcast might be attractive, there's another option. When tested for brand favorability, branded podcasts that took a narrative approach saw an average lift that was 10 percentage points higher than those using a conversation or interview format. Pacific Content's head of strategy and development, Annalise Nielsen, suggests this gulf of difference is likely due in some part to narrative podcasts having higher quality control built in. Content is more likely to be massaged, edited, or cut when everything is edited versus a conversational branded podcast, which might favor raw content over intensive editing. The key to good branded content, according to Nielsen, is remembering to ask the question, what is the listener getting out of all of this? And in Marketing Brew, household spending on streaming is going down. According to findings from research firm Parks Associates, who survey 10,000 U.S. internet households every quarter, streaming subscription spending in the U.S. has dropped 25% over the last 2 years. The average has now dropped to $73 per month. At the same time, free ad-supported streaming services continue their 4-year streak of increasing market share, with at least a third of surveyed households consuming one of the services by the end of 2022. More than 40% of users on ad-supported streamers say there are far too many ads. Podcasting finds itself in an advantageous position, as generally, paid podcast subscriptions eliminate ads, and podcasts generally have lower ad frequency than connected TV ad pods. And for the rest of the news, we have a double serving of Spotify for you today. 2 scoops of Spotify. First, AdWeek covers how a Spotify campaign in Mexico is leveraging Gen Z's sudden love of corridos. And Spotify has a few more details about their AI voice translation pilot program. Be sure to check out the links to every article mentioned right in your podcast listening app or at soundsprofitable.com, where you can also subscribe to the newsletter version. The Download is written and produced by Brian Barletta, Gavin Gaddis, and me. This episode is hosted on Art19. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Tom Webster. Download us again tomorrow.